You are in the trenches with former Buccaneers offensive lineman Ian Beckles on Radio Influence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to In the Trenches. This is Ian Beckles coming at you, and this is the podcast that it breaks down football scientifically. And I'm not a scientist, but I've been around football for a while. And what I do is I bring scientists with me, and that's why I brought the great Michael Clayton with me. What's up, brother?
What's up, baby?
You doing all right?
Scientific.
Yeah. We keep it
Breakdown.
scientific, yes.
Oh yeah, I like
doubt.
that analogy. I can do that.
No doubt. Well, we're making this a big broadcast now. We've been dealing with Radio Influence for a while. They do a wonderful job. We also have WeBeam TV, where we're going to be filming it as well. And we're going to be, I've done this In the Trenches for a while. We have some good numbers. Michael and I did the podcast last week. I even had my boss, over there at iHeart tell me how great it was. You were part of iHeart.
It's always good to have former players who know the game.
Yeah.
I think that our media today, they do a great job covering teams, but they lack in football knowledge, I've recognized over the years. So it's always good to get some clarity from guys who've been in the trenches, guys who've, weathered that storm, played the game, to give you a football perspective so you can be accurate in your assessments, definitely with the Bucs.
No doubt. Well, and Mike and I are going to create another podcast or webcast where you can see us as well. We came up with the name Slobber Knockers, and if you don't know what that means, look it up. I consider myself back in the day, I was a slobber knocker. Hell, I'm still a slobber knocker.
There you go.
And Mike was too. Listen, I don't put that on a lot of receivers. You're one of very few I would put that on.
Listen, we played the game how it was supposed to be played at LSU. We established a physical dominance, and that came from our wide receiver core, kind of permeated through the whole team. And that's how I played the game of football, since I was young, in the pros. A lot of people remember me from blocking. That's just how you played the game. We saw a lot of blocking from Chris Godwin. Bruce Arians calls out his receivers. The great Bill Muir said, "No block, no rock." So that was ingrained in me from, my time with the Bucs and even before then at LSU.
No doubt. I was with Bill Muir with the Jets very briefly. And the Jets at that time, Bill Parcells was the head coach. And when I got there, I was astounded at the amount that they just harped on the wide receivers blocking.
Right.
It's essential.
Right.
Y'all was pretty. Y'all was pretty dudes with long towels and all that stuff. And we were in the trenches, but if you play for the Jets and Bill Muir and Bill Parcells, you're going to have to get down and dirty.
Absolutely. And we all know that the NFL is a game of big plays. And usually when you see big plays in the running game, you will have a wide receiver blocking.
No doubt.
And usually when you have, gains of 10, 15, you're like, oh, he should have broke it, or he could have had a chance. It's probably because the wide receiver wasn't blocking.
Absolutely.
So that makes a big difference. It kind of sets the difference between a good team and great teams, contenders and champions. Receivers who do the dirty work usually lends to big plays with your running backs, and that's always a great asset to have.
No doubt. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to break down a couple of different stories going on in the NFL. Then we're going to come back and talk about our lowly Buccaneers that seem like the same old Bucs. They figure out ways to lose. You lose to a rookie quarterback in his first start at home. There's no way to slice that as being a successful outing. Okay, I don't give a crap how many points you scored and all that, but we're going to get back to that. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things going on in the NFL now. We'd be remiss to not talk about Antonio Brown, who every day for a month did something else stupid. Like, I've never seen anybody do so many stupid things in a row. You got to figure, eventually, you're going to see you're heading in the wrong path and slow something down. But, you talk about somebody play the game right. Antonio Brown as a football player is one of the best receivers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he's the first one in the history of the NFL who it's too much to deal with. It's never happened before.
Yeah, it's difficult to watch, and from my experience, Ian, this is a direct reflection of having a corner full of yes men, where everybody agrees with you, you're always right, and you're never wrong. And consistently, what we've seen is Antonio Brown lash out at others.
Correct.
And not ever take responsibility for his own actions, and has led to him missing out on $30 million plus. Probably won't play in the NFL ever again. And most importantly, he's closed the door on all of his endorsements for life after football. You know, once the NFL closes the door, Ian, we know
it's shut.
It's shut. And it's tough to make $1 million, man.
Yes, it is.
And it's the easiest money in the world when you've done it your whole life. And once you finish and you live a life respectable or have a respectable career, there are many more opportunities that may make you more money after football than when you played.
If you do it right.
And if you do it right. And what he's done is he's shut the door. You know, you figure a guy made $30 million, he has to be able to make at least $10 million after football.
Sure.
You know, whether that's commentating, whether that's, you know, doing something, endorsement deals. But he's ruined that. And we've seen this happen before. Everybody who's had a problem that we look at as great players, Terrell Owens. And there's a list of guys that come to mind. Keyshawn Johnson. It's like, you know, even guys like Warren Sapp, you know, great player, but they're not present like we would want them to match their great careers because of how I believe that they chose to treat the tag while they wore the tag. And it's sad to see, man. You just hope that the guy, Antonio Brown, he gets help, that he has some type of influence in his life that can get him help. We've seen some tragedies happen, and I don't blame everything on CTE, but these types of actions let you know that something is wrong.
Well, and
something is wrong mentally.
And I've brought up CTE before, and believe me, I'm not using CTE as an excuse for anybody to do anything. Now, but you have to be curious for somebody to be doing. Okay, there's some people they're just ballistic people. They do crazy. They do some off-the-wall stuff, okay? But when you're doing irrational things, okay, it's irrational to catch a ball in practice and then go throw the ball over the fence. It's irrational. You're not doing anything. It's irrational to call your well-established GM cracker in front of everybody. It's irrational. Now, the whole CTE thing, there's a lot to that because some of the stories, especially with women, those are not okay stories. And when you're talking about breaking the law, I said this before this all happened. I go, at the end of this, he's going to end up in jail. I said that a long time ago, before he got kicked out. So at this point, I'm going to disagree with you with this. I think he plays again. I think he takes a year. Somebody sits him down and says, yo, this is the way it goes. Right now your earning potential is literally zero, okay? Get yourself right and make yourself a success story. So if a year from now he goes to rehab, he goes to some, counseling, he has somebody speak on his behalf, he says, I've learned from my mistakes, I'm sorry. He hasn't come close to doing that yet. Okay, but when he does that, I believe it's a possibility the NFL says, well, let's take a chance on him because there's only one player in the whole world walking around the street right now who's good enough to play in the NFL isn't. You know who it is?
No.
Colin Kaepernick. Everybody else in the world that's good enough to play in the NFL is playing right now, except for Colin Kaepernick. So if AB a year from now is still good enough to play in the league, they'll put him back in the league because and there's people that have murdered people and come back in the league, and Colin can't come back.
Right. Well, I think that his track through New England and how that ended up was detrimental to his opportunities to play because we put New England on the pedestal. They've taken chances on players that have had problems, and they've been able to kind of cater to them and help them become better people within their championship culture. And the fact that did not happen with Antonio Brown leads me to believe that no team, if New England can't do it, which they're the team that's labeled as, taking a chance on those types of guys, if they can't do it, it's a big risk. And to add on the fact that he's done it to 3 teams.
Correct.
Pittsburgh, the Raiders, and then now the Patriots. 3 organizations that are historically great organizations.
Maybe top.
So maybe you have an organization like you can't even put Cleveland in there anymore because now they've over the years they've brought in some great players. But you look at like maybe a Cincinnati, maybe a Jacksonville, or one of those organizations who are struggling. But when you have those type of marquee players, you need them to be the face of your franchise. In my opinion, Antonio Brown has kind of messed that up.
He has.
He's messed that up. And you know, Ian, when guys play in the league, and Antonio has made great money these past, 4 or 5 years. So now you say he has no earning potential. That means if he gets an opportunity, he's going to have to come in and play for veteran minimum. And I don't see Antonio Brown playing for a veteran minimum, even playing for $1 million when he's used to playing for upwards to $5, $6, $7 million a year.
But if you step out the league for a year, and reality bites you in your ass, and you realize how much money $1 million truly is.
I think it takes more than a year to realize. It may take more to realize that. Like remember when T.O. was going through his troubles?
Yeah.
Like 2 years after he went through it, then and paying $50,000 or $100,000 a month in bills. It was like 2 years. Then he wanted to come back and get back in. So, and with pride, I know pride is going to play a factor. Antonio Brown himself said that I'm not playing in the NFL anymore. So now you have to. You know, his pride is going to be, I'm going to be a man of my word. So now it's going to take an intercession of some type of wisdom, some type of mentor to get to him so that he can eat his words, humble himself, see himself for what he's done, apologize for, and then move forward. If that doesn't happen, I don't see him taking the steps to having an opportunity to play in the league just because of how he messed it up with the 3 great organizations that he had the opportunity to play for.
Just apologizing is great, okay? Knowing you did something wrong is more important to me than apologizing and, you know, having some humility. We should sit Tony Dungy after him and let Tony Dungy sit him down. He would be perfect. Now, there's another situation with another player, with Jalen Ramsey, what's a little bit different. He's still a Jacksonville Jaguar. He wants out. They don't have to let him out, okay? He's under contract. He could just sit there and rot.
He's sick today.
But today he'd let them know that he's sick and he probably won't be there for the practice today or maybe this week. So usually you fake an injury, but he doesn't want to be part of it. You're a better football team with him. Everybody knows that.
Right.
When he said he doesn't want to be there, I believe 31 teams contacted them.
Well, I think we got to be careful with that, Ian, because I've heard a lot of the national media say that he doesn't want to be there. But he himself
hasn't really said it.
He himself came out and said, I didn't put that out there. The Jacksonville Jaguars put that out there. Yeah. And then when we look at it, I always say this, the big bad media has the power to sway the fans' opinions of a player, which is what excited me about having the opportunity, you know, to utilize radio platforms and TV platforms and webcast platforms to kind of give you guys the real. Jalen Ramsey never said that he wanted out. But yet everybody is talking about Jalen Ramsey wants to be out. The Jacksonville Jaguars, in my opinion, have created this monster themselves with arrogance from, you know, a guy who arrogance. A guy like Tom Coughlin, who I have a great deal of respect for, who will not change his way of doing things.
Nope.
It's a sense of pride. It's a sense of arrogance. I did see Tom Coughlin change some of the way he operated the team on a day-to-day basis when I played my 2 years with the New York Giants. But overall, when he's at that position and just having to, his job is to create a firm foundation for the team, he won't change.
No,
he won't change in that. He knows what he knows, and I think that by them not wanting to, I mean, great organizations, when you have great people like Tom Coughlin, they don't want those problems. The New England Patriots showed you, like, as great of a player as he is,
it's not worth it.
We don't want those problems.
Well, the New England Patriots, more so than any other team I've ever seen, is about their logo.
Right.
Okay. It's not even about Tom Brady. It's not. Even when you try to gas up Tom Brady, Belichick will bring it right back to it's a team thing. Right. And when Belichick is sitting up there in a press conference and they're 2-0 and only the questions are about Antonio Brown, it's not worth it anymore for him. And he has no tolerance for anything. And we had an interview with Lou Holtz the other day, and he was in his 80s, and we were like, I don't know if we really want Lou Holtz. He was amazing.
Oh, yeah,
amazing.
He's still present.
And he said one thing that I swear to God I'm going to keep on using. And you could use it as a parent as well. He goes, don't lower your standards. Don't lower your standards. And New England won't lower the standards, and neither will Jacksonville.
Right. And that was, to your point, Ian, I played at LSU under Coach Saban. Coach Saban, Coach Belichick are great friends.
Very similar, yeah.
They run their New England was once called LSU North because Belichick would sign all of undrafted guys out of LSU, and they would become Pro Bowlers or great players in New England. And when I got to LSU, Ian, I saw Damian James, one of the best safeties in the SEC at the time, got kicked off the team. There was a few other players, I forget their names, but they got kicked off the team too, and I was a freshman. I'm coming in like, wait, these guys were all SEC players. Matter. And I see Coach Saban walking in the locker room, like, get your ass out of here, you're done. And I'm like, but he's our starting corner.
Doesn't matter.
And immediately, that changed my perspective of operating at LSU. I knew that I could be on the chopping block if I didn't buy into the way, and it was very important. I went on to win a national championship, and I understood why Coach Saban was building that culture. Bill Belichick has so many championships. They understand why they have that culture, and they're not willing to take that chance regardless of how good of a player is. And if they are willing to take the chance because they know that they have the power to help and to create change. But the minute that they feel, that Josh Gordon, it was interesting to me to see him have mistakes.
Yeah.
They stuck with the guy. Why? Because they know he's a great player, but they know he's a good person.
He's not a bad person.
He's inflicting things on himself. Correct. Very different from Antonio Brown, who's inflicting injustices on other people.
Correct.
All right. Josh Gordon was more on himself. They stuck with him, and now he's a better person and making great plays. So, like you said, Lou Holtz, great person to this day, still present. I got a chance to spend some time with Lou Holtz at the LSU and a Notre Dame game a few years ago. We were the grand marshals in a parade. So he always has meaningful quotes that you can utilize. But yeah, don't lower your standards.
Period. Now, as far as the NFL goes, we're here. We're Buccaneer fans. We're here in Tampa Bay. We were hoping we were about to take a step in the right direction. We took a big step backwards yesterday. But as far as the NFL goes, we talk about the Patriots. We could talk about the Steelers, Kansas City, Philadelphia, some of those teams that have been there, Give me your sleeper team, a team that is ready to take the next step of getting to that next level. Give me one team you would say it would be your sleeper team.
Man, as much as I want to say, being the current situation, the first team that comes to mind, sleeper, and this is not really a sleeper team because you expect great things out of the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees goes down, you feel like all is lost. And you feel like, they can't compete, all right? NFC South, they've known to run the division. What will they do? Teddy Bridgewater has been, tutored under Drew Brees last year. He knows this offense. He has a bad game considerably last week, and I talked about this. Teddy Bridgewater, he was flicking the ball really quick. And it was very difficult for wide receivers to make the in-game adjustment to catch a different ball that's coming. We saw him a full week of practice. He balled out. Receivers were catching balls last week. It was a great adjustment. So I say a sleeper team. Everybody thought New Orleans Saints was out of it. But I think that they're going to be prime. They got some great players around Teddy Bridgewater to play. Sleeper team. That's kind of a hit. You don't really consider New Orleans a sleeper team. The biggest sleeper team, though, the Cleveland Browns. I think that in due time.
You think they're ready?
I don't think that they're ready right now. They're in their first year offense, so to speak, first year players. It always takes time as a team. I just think that they have a lot of talent defensively and offensively to be that contending team that can compete to get into the playoffs. I think the Cleveland Browns are set to make a drastic change in comparison to what they've done in the past year.
Well, a lot of people were gassing up the Cleveland Browns before the season. I was kind of tempering, some of that emotion, but I was like, listen, Baker Mayfield's in his second year, and a lot of times You put somebody in as a rookie, and Daniel Jones probably a great example. You put them in as a rookie, they don't know any better.
Right.
So they're just kind of willy-nilly and they're winging it, and it works. Sometimes in your second year, you gotta say, this is not easy because the coaches are now asking a little bit more from you. There's a little bit more reads, and I think that's where Baker Mayfield is, as a quarterback in his second year. Now, for myself, at the beginning of the year, I picked the Dallas Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl, okay, because I just think they got everything there. And I picked the Texans. I'm going to stay with the Texans. I think the Texans are a team that have some pretty darn good football players. Okay, they have some great football players.
Right.
They let Clowney go. That happens. Clowney's one of those guys that kind of did his own thing a lot of times as well. But I think the Texans with J.J. Watt, with Deshaun Watson, Hopkins, and all those guys out there, I think they're ready to take that next step.
Now, when you say sleeper team, is that sleeping in terms of competing for a world championship, or just making to the playoffs?
Well, I think some people pick the Texans. Most people pick the Cowboys, but I think the Texans are going to go all the way myself.
I don't think so.
I mean, unless something tragic hasn't happened in New England, by the way. It has to, because I'm not sure anybody can beat them. I'm not positive. You think anybody can beat New England? You think?
Yes.
How many games do you think New England loses this year?
I mean,
more than 3? Not a chance. Not a chance.
It's tough to say against Tom Brady, but yes, they are beatable.
Are they?
They are beatable. You have to. The only way to beat the New England Patriots is with the most physical.
Punch them in the mouth.
Punch them in the mouth. I faced the New England Patriots twice. New York Giants, we beat them twice in the year we won the Super Bowl.
A long time ago, dog.
And it was I tore both of my thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I went on IR after that game, Week 10, on special teams, slamming people through the ground. And that's just what type of game it was. All phases, physical, punch them in the mouth. And we came out victorious. It wasn't a pretty game, but we were the most physical team in both games in Week 10 and in the Super Bowl, and we came out victorious. There are not a lot of physical teams out there.
No. There's not.
There's not a lot of physical teams out there, And when
Steelers used to be, they're not anymore. They're not anymore.
I beg to differ. I think that the Steelers will, in my opinion, will always be a physical team. They have a DNA of, they're just nasty.
That's their mentality.
Devin Bush, the kid is just nasty.
Mm-hmm.
He's nasty, and they embody that persona of a physical team.
They ain't scaring nobody no more.
Well,
really?
we look at the big name Harrison and Palomalu and all of these big headhunter guys that they don't have anymore. They're just in a transitional period. Shazier, he goes down. He was a great physical player. And we're trying to find those new guys. We just don't know them yet. But they only draft one way.
Yes, they do.
They only bring in the guys that play the game how it was played back in the day. We just haven't discovered those big-name players. But I wouldn't say that they're not a physical team.
Okay, speaking of physical teams, speaking of putting players in the right place to win, our Buccaneers went into Sunday 1-1. The New York Giants are coming to town. The lowly New York Giants at 0-2. Quarterback playing his first game ever in the NFL. Now,
starting.
He
got a little mop-up duty last
year. A little bit. Now, it can't get no easier than that. It can't. With a team that hasn't won, rookie quarterback in your house, you're full strength. The Bucs are full strength. We got one of the better defenses, allegedly, in the league. It don't get no easier than that. And we lose in Buccaneer fashion. If you look at the box scores, if you didn't know the score and you looked at the box score, you would like the Bucs won.
Yeah.
Because the Bucs figure out ways to lose. It's so many different ways. Now the Buccaneers are 1-2. Is it the end of the world? No. But the Buccaneers could have been 3-0. The Buccaneers could have been 0-3.
Yeah.
But the long and short of it is, we won one game against Carolina that I believe would have beat the Bucs if they used their backup quarterback other than Cam Newton, who was clearly beat up and shouldn't have been out
right,
there.
Because he missed a lot of open receivers.
So
and we saw that backup quarterback complete the ball.
So after watching that game yesterday, what are the Bucs? What are they?
I'm gonna take you inside the locker room of what those guys are feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, Ian, I think that when you play in the NFL, there's not, you may feel like there's a team that you're supposed to beat, but you always know that it's any given Sunday.
Correct.
So, in my opinion, these players on the Bucs team are still confident because offensively, you had a great first half.
Unbelievable.
New York Giants made the adjustments at halftime. You weren't as successful, but you made the plays when you needed to make the plays. That says a lot for an offense. I call it an at-will offense. You move the ball at will, you score at will. We did that, all right? Offensively, I see, especially in two-minute football, situational football, when you can drive the ball with seconds and put yourself in, that's a great feeling.
Correct.
It doesn't always happen at practice. You're worried when it doesn't happen at practice, you know what I mean, of how you're going to perform in the game. And so when it happens, how you expect it to happen, that's a sense of encouragement, man. So I feel like these players offensively are locked in. They're ready to go. They know that they can do what they need to do to win the game. We just got to make the field goal. Defensively, I felt that we brought pressure. We played poorly in the secondary, and that was our weakest spots. Our defensive line brought pressure. Shaq Barrett
He's a beast.
Had an all-world game again, and we were physical at the point of attack. We tackled well, in my opinion. We gave up some big plays in the secondary. Vernon Hargreaves didn't play his best game, and he was picked on. I think that this team, coached under Bruce Arians, will stay locked in. I don't think that they will take this loss to heart because of how they lost. They lost because they didn't make a field goal. It's tough to lose that way, but it isn't detrimental because you did enough good things in the game to let you know, to reaffirm that, hey, we can win football games with our team. And I think that they reinforced that. And, again, under Bruce Arians, I don't see them sliding underneath the table after this loss. I
think they took a step back, man, for me, okay, because from what I thought they were before the game undid it. The game undid it. This one, I was like, okay, what's going to happen is we're going to have a slobber knocker type game. It's going to be a smash mouth game, and you got to win a low-scoring type, run-the-football type game.
And defensively, we did that. We shut Saquon Barkley down.
They gave up 30-something points to a rookie quarterback in his first start at home.
We keep saying rookie quarterback, but
that's what he is.
But he didn't play like a rookie.
He didn't. But you know what? He will. Decisive. He will play like a rookie. He will,
but he didn't play like a rookie this week.
Okay, let me give you this, okay? What would happen if Monty Kiffin's defense was out there and you put that rookie out there at home? They would have basted his ass.
Well, that's a different look. We don't play zone coverage.
Feel.
It's a different rookie quarterback throwing in the zone coverage. That's difficult. That's more reading. You got to be more decisive. Maybe he's not ready to go against a sound zone coverage team. Man-to-man coverage. You're focusing. You see your guy one-on-one. That's an easy throw and catch.
That's an easy read.
That's what we did. They beat us on man-to-man coverage. So it was easier for the rookie to make those throws. You're going against a Monty Kiffin zone defense that's sound. That's more difficult.
Well, what do we not expect it to get worse when we have to play against Jared Goff and then Breeze when he comes back? Do we not expect it to get worse?
I don't know if you expect it to get worse, but you can expect to be challenged.
Yeah.
So we've seen Vernon Hargreaves make some big plays this year. We've seen him not make the big plays. What we're lacking is that Jalen Ramsey type of corner. We've
never had one.
Well,
not really. Well, once again, Jalen Ramsey's a lockup guy. We've had a bunch of zone guys, and we've lived and died with the pass rush.
Right. But we played like guys that I played with, in my opinion, were considered. Brian Kelly on the outside,
Brian Kelly was nice.
In my opinion, locked down.
Yeah.
Rondé Barber in the slot made a play every single game.
For real.
Every game Rondé was making a play. Locked down. In my opinion, you can trust him. He's going to make a play. He may get beat, but he's going to make a play.
Yeah, absolutely.
We haven't had that guy. Like Vernon Hargreaves has made some plays, but not in the category as a playmaker.
Not enough. He don't make enough plays that it's going to make up for his mess ups, because I could see him on the wrong end of coverage a lot.
And he's been beat enough to where teams are not afraid of him. He's not tall, he's not big, and if he's not in the perfect position, he won't make the play. And that's and you got guys like Jalen Ramsey. Those guys are great because they don't need to be in the perfect position.
There's not a lot of them though
to make a play.
There's not a lot of Jalen
and there's not a lot of guys out there. That's one thing that we're missing.
That's why somebody said, "Well, what team could use Jalen Ramsey?" I said, "Stop." All of them.
All of them.
Every single one can use a shutdown corner that you can put on somebody's best player and not worry about that dude. Every single team, period.
Speaking, quick shout out. There's a freshman corner at LSU, Stingley. Stingley. Ian. This kid graduated high school early, practiced with LSU during the bowl game last year. He was the best corner on the field out of high school.
Whoa.
I watched him for 3 days straight a few weeks ago, and I'm watching him practice. He follows our number one receiver around all practice. He's poised. When I see this kid, he is the epitome of lockdown corner. He will literally be the first pick of the draft. If a team is looking for a shutdown corner, if that's their priority, it's Stingley. This kid, I'm talking, he's amazing.
No, I believe that.
He runs a 4.3. He's confident. He never panics. And he plays the position like you want a defensive back to play.
You know what it looks like.
Absolutely.
You know, and look, people have played know what it looks like. I heard of a guy like that at Indiana one time. My boy was like, "Wait till you see this dude." I go, "Dude, this Indiana." He goes, "Wait till you see him." You know who it was? Antoine Randall.
Yeah.
He goes, "This kid is the best player we got at every position." He goes, when he was redshirted, he goes, if they had a great quarterback, he played quarterback. If they had a great running back, he played running back. He goes, he could play DB, play receiver. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's great. You can't fake that greatness, especially that early.
Yeah.
But listen, our Buccaneers here, we have to figure out a way, because the Bucs don't come back home for like 40-something days, okay? That's a long time for these fans to hope for the best.
Right.
But I don't know if, and Bruce Arians has done this throughout his whole career. He's turned things around real quick, okay? But he's never been here.
Right.
And yesterday, I don't know who to blame for the loss. You can't just blame a rookie kicker. It's easy.
Why not?
Well, you can, but he's a rookie kicker. What do you expect? You know, he didn't ask to get picked. He didn't ask to get picked. Why don't we go out and get Matt Bryant, who's sitting on the street at 58 years old, who I know can kick a 40-yard field goal at the end of the game?
Well, those are the questions. You know, why don't you pull the trigger on a guy who probably created your kicking woes?
Yeah. Who
started the kicking crisis?
Well, Jason Light. Jason Light started all this. He started it. Listen, I like Jason Light as a person.
That's a big gamble for a guy like Jason Light, because he's already being ridiculed by the 100 defensive backs that he's chosen in the past 2-3 drafts.
No O-lineman.
No O-lineman, and his players, his free agents not performing up to par. To bring in a Matt Bryant, and you've had the kicking woes. If he gets hurt, gets old, the great Matt Bryant, if he doesn't perform, that makes Jason Light.
It can't look worse than it looked yesterday.
It makes him look really bad. It makes him look worse than if a rookie. Because you expect that from a rookie. You don't expect that from Matt Bryant, and you're saying to Jason Light, you should have known the guy was going to get old. That's what they're going to say. So, in my opinion, no, it wasn't the best choice, obviously, because he's still kicking and he's still doing his job well. But that's a lot of pressure.
Sure.
That was a lot of pressure on Jason Light. He made a business decision,
in
my opinion.
There's been some bad business decisions from Maguire way back when. And for him to pick another kicker in the draft, barely any kickers get picked.
Yeah.
And for you to pick a kicker in the 5th round, I mean, you can bring an offensive lineman and you can be the defensive lineman. There's people that are effective. I was a 5th-round pick, okay? I started 9 years. Tony Mayberry's a 4th-round pick. He started 9 years. That's how you build the nucleus of your football team. And when you're wasting picks on kickers that can't make kicks, if you waste a first rounder on a kicker who's money, God bless you.
Right.
But to waste a draft pick on a kicker who sucks is a problem.
Well, you talk about building a team, Ian. One of the main things of building a team is player development.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you a quick story about Aguayo. When he's struggling, we share the same mental and conditioning coach, Trevor Moad. And Trevor worked with him at Florida State when he was the best kicker in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was having his kicking woes, being a part of the organization in the capacity that I am, trying to get guys. I wanted Aguayo to get back with Trevor Moad mentally.
Sure.
So lock him in mentally. I asked the Bucks, let's get this kid, because you know what happens. It's too much pressure. He's gonna continue to miss kicks, and then he's gonna be gone. I told him in year one, he's gonna be gone. You know what they told me? Mike, we don't do that.
You don't do what?
We have
what's best for the athlete?
They said we have our own guys. Okay. And I said, listen, your own guy, I understand, but he doesn't know Aguayo's history.
Sure.
Get him back with the guy who's worked with him the 4 years at Florida State, when he was the best in the world, keeping him mentally locked in. The Bucs said we don't do that. I was highly upset because I said, we have to do you got to do things outside the box if you want to be a championship team. Mm-hmm. You got to do what's necessary. From what I was told, the Bucs weren't willing to do what's necessary. Kind of like Coach Cutter in some of his cuts, not doing what's necessary. You don't want to coach Jameis on how to throw a lob pass.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking they get to the NFL, play the game. We're not coaching you up anymore. Now we want you to play. But there is a level of development that goes on in the National Football League, and the Bucs have missed that mark tremendously in player development. Working with guys like Deshaun Jackson, who you have him here. Help develop a guy, become a leader on your team, utilize his talent. But when you let guys just do whatever the hell they want to do, money plays the play, pride plays the play, age plays the play, and there are many different factors. And the Bucs, in my opinion, have dropped the ball on player development. And we've seen that in our rookies not being able to be developed, and that plays a big part in the long run.
Now, the way this season's going, and I said this at the beginning of the season, I go, this is how the season's going to go. I said the Bucs are going to go 5-11 or 6-10, because that's their talent level, okay? What's going to happen is Jameis is going to play just like he's been playing. And to this point in the season, this is typical Jameis Winston. He plays a horrible game. He manages the game.
He never played a horrible game. This year.
The first game wasn't great. The first game was terrible.
Not terrible. I wouldn't say terrible. That's a little bit over. I wouldn't say terrible.
Well, you ain't going to win with that play from Jameis Winston. Second game, managed the game. Third game, played very well. It may go that way all the way through 16 games. And this is what I'm going to say. Considering there were 6 quarterbacks start yesterday that had never started before or didn't start the week before, go ahead and get rid of your middle-of-the-road quarterback and see what happens. Yeah. Somebody's going to gobble his ass up. And there's going to be a city that's going to be happy to bring in Jameis Winston.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because Jameis Winston's numbers ain't that damn bad. And when I'm watching it yesterday, talk about development, I mean, we got so many weapons out there, and, O.J. Howard finally showed up, which is nice. I've been on him a little bit. Mike Evans is legitimate as a football player. Anybody would love him. Godwin is a little up and down, but to be a number 2, we're in good hands.
Yeah.
I would like to see more targets for Godwin. And then you could sprinkle in whoever else. I would like to see some more from Cameron Brate. Like, Cameron Brate, to me, I was looking for him to get traded at the beginning of the season. For him to be making $8 million as a backup tight end, and he hasn't done much of anything to this point. Yeah. Okay, there's other things we need a lot more than that.
As 2 touchdowns to call back in week 1.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm talking about with, every week, $8 million?
Yeah.
And he was on the side of the stadium last year.
Yeah.
We need more than that, okay? We need more from O.J. Howard. There's no doubt.
Right.
But there's talent out there. What do you think of the play calling? I thought the play call was pretty good yesterday.
I thought that Byron Leftwich kind of did a good job of kind of controlling Jameis when Jameis was kind of a little bit antsy. He took the ball out of his hands, and we established a running the football.
Little screens here and there were nice.
I thought we did everything we did enough right offensively.
Okay.
Can we get better? Yes. Will we get better? Yes. That's to be expected. First-year coordinator, first-year offense. There are going to be some growing pains, especially in the first 4 weeks. But I still think that we did, I thought Byron did a great job of establishing the run game early, finding the open guys, and we did that throughout the game. Yes, we were, defense wins. They won sometimes. But we did what was necessary to put ourselves in position to win offensively. I think that, we did a good job.
Now, to me, I like seeing certain things. I like to see the ball run more, okay? Little things like screen passes, that's scheming, okay? I love the fact they got Ronald Jones out in the open. I don't think he's a great running back. I think he's a nice kid to catch the ball out in the flats, on screens, get him out in the open. As a whole, I thought we schemed some things open yesterday. The touchdown to Mike Evans, where he just little quick pop screen pass. I haven't seen that ever.
Right.
I thought it was a great scheme. So Byron Leftwich is learning as he goes. He's a first-time play caller as well, and he's learning Jameis's strengths, weaknesses. But sometimes you have to call plays to win 20-17. I think, you know what I mean? And that was the problem we had in the first week. If we would have called plays to win 20-17, we would have won that game.
Right. And that, that assessment comes when you are familiar with the team's history.
Yeah.
Then you're able to pay attention to those types of details. I think that there's other things to worry about when you're a first-year offense, trying to discover you guys. Just trying to score as many points as possible might be their priority, to try to figure out what they need to do to win the game. You scoring all these points, that means our defense is out there, which means can our defense sustain that many plays? No, it's not in our favor to score a lot of points. This is what we want to do. We want to run the football. We want to, be in this range so we can take care of our defense. Those types of adjustments happen after the first 4 games, sometimes during the second half of the season, when teams start to peak and know exactly what they want to do to win the game, those types of adjustments happen. I think we're just in a learning process right now and doing things or trying to utilize our weapons. I think we got too many weapons.
You might be right.
There's not enough balls to go around to all the way. We're always going to be talking about somebody who didn't show up. O.J. Howard plays well, we're not going to see Cameron Brate.
Yeah.
Mike Evans plays well, we're not going to see that much of Chris Godwin. It's always, and then with the establishing of the running game, that's already taking balls out of the receivers' mouths as well. So there's not, guys just have to capitalize on their opportunities. A guy makes, like Chris Godwin, 4 catches, 50 yards. That's what the stat sheets are going to read. Pedestrian type of stats, but everybody doing their job and not making mistakes. And that's what this team, I think, is going to be built on. Everybody doing their job moderately, and then that's what's going to make you a great football team.
Well, listen, Godwin had 4 targets. That'll go up and down.
5 targets, 4 catches.
Yeah, okay, so you would like to think you would go there more. But Mike Evans had 15 targets, okay? So there's only so many balls you can throw out there. So what scares me defensively is there was a few years ago where the Bucs, nobody could run against the Bucs, but everybody can pass against the Bucs. That's what I'm seeing. Like I'm seeing, I don't like the effort I saw from Ndamukong Suh yesterday. I don't like it. Okay, he just kind of just seemed like he was just out there. Vita Vea is just not a pass rusher; he's a pusher, and that's just what he is. Shaq Barrett. Now, we haven't seen a pass rusher like Shaq Barrett since Simeon Rice, and Shaq Barrett's a different rusher than Simeon Rice. Okay, but I'm telling you, this kid is better than advertised, because I'm watching the plays that he doesn't make, and he's
almost there.
He's always hitting the quarterback, even if the quarterback's completing the ball. Shaq Barrett is coming. So he's going to get sacks, and his motor is fantastic. Now, we have 2 great motor guys on the outside. Nazib's a great motor guy. Shaq Barrett's a great motor guy. Now we need some oomph in the middle. If we can get some rush out of the middle, this team can be a beast because teams are going to throw the ball 40 times on the Bucs every single week because they can't run the ball.
Yeah.
They can't run the ball against us.
And they're struggling in coverage. We got young corners back there. We will be tested. That is our weak link, our secondary, and we will be tested this year more and more.
There's no doubt about that. So we got to get a little bit better inside, obviously, and as a whole, I just don't know if the Bucs know where they are. I don't. They're still trying to figure out their identity. Offensively, are we a running team? I mean, I thought we were going to be a running team. And at the end of the game, I look at the stats. I'm like, we should have run the ball more. Like it seemed like always in my. I went to Indiana University, bro. Okay, we ran the pill. I know you're a wide receiver. You want to throw the rock. I get it. But if you can run the pill on somebody, nothing's more demoralizing. You watch Wisconsin play football. That's the football I grew up playing.
The problem with us running the football is that it's not pretty. Peyton Barber is going to run hard yards. Yeah. When you talk about running the football, you want to see 15-yard gashes, 20-yard gashes.
That's not our running.
That's not us. So it makes it difficult to stay committed to the run when you're not getting those gashes when the passing game is giving you 10 yards, 12 yards plus. So the situation of the game did not allow, in my opinion, we ran the football great in the first half. Mm-hmm. The situation of the game didn't allow us to run the football more. Mm-hmm. But it's just not pretty. Even with Ronald Jones. When and in my opinion, Ronald Jones is just, he's a good back.
He's just a running back.
But he's not a great back.
Nope.
He's not going to make people miss, and he's not a starter either. Ronald Jones running the ball in between guard and tackle.
Nah.
Nothing.
Nah.
Not going to give you what you want. Now, will he have some? Is he a good change of pace back? Yes, because he comes in, great energy, fresh legs. He can hit the ball, hit the hole hard. His thing is, in my opinion, he doesn't have the vision. He doesn't have the ability to make that first guy in the hole miss, to juke a guy, run through a guy, we saw him stumble a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it looks like he's trying to get his legs under him. He's not making guys miss. I wanted him to do more with his opportunities.
And he had some.
And he had some opportunities.
He had some.
He played, from comparison to what he's shown,
yes.
We say he's playing good. Mm-hmm. For people who know football, you say, I want him to do better. Like, this is what we need Ronald Jones to do better if we want to be a playoff contender.
Correct.
We need to make that 40-yard. We need you to take that to the house. We need you to turn this 10-yard run. That needs to be a 30-yard big play.
Correct.
When we start having those types of gashes, then that's when I think everything is going to kind of subside, and our offense will be defined, our identity will be defined, and guys will be maximizing their potential.
Well, I don't think we have that running back on our roster, okay? The two guys we're giving the ball to are 5 yards in a cloud of dust type dudes. And I don't mean like to smash my football, but there was a couple situations yesterday and this year that we got the running backs to the second level for them to make 2 extra yards.
Right.
Okay, greatness sometimes goes all the way with that one.
Absolutely.
And there's not a lot of great running backs in the NFL, but we certainly do not have one.
Yeah, and the thing that hurts me kind of, and it's not always good to bring up things like guys you could have got, Vita Vea or Dalvin Cook. And it's like,
yeah, I get it.
We needed a running back.
Yeah.
You need a running back to win in this league. We were struggling on defense, so we fulfilled that need, opposed to, in my opinion, defense is horrible. Offensively, can we build a team to score 40 points to win games? Let's get a running back.
Yeah.
And we passed on. I thought it would have been a great Jameis Winston, Dalvin Cook, Florida State.
Makes
He's
sense.
in Florida, more fan support. To me, it made sense to get the guy. We didn't do it. And to see Dalvin Cook make guys miss, run through people, long runs, it's like, that's what I saw. That's what we needed. And we passed on it.
Difference maker.
But the defense has changed.
There's no doubt.
Defense has changed.
But Vita Vea can only do so much, okay, at defensive tackle. He can't win games at defensive tackle. He can win games at running back. You can win games at running back. You just can't win games at defensive tackle. So this is what we got. We got a 1-2 team, and it's tough sledding from here, brother. It's tough sledding from here.
It is, and we don't have a complete team yet.
No.
One of the things that's hard to kind of watch is like guys who are active that don't play. You know, what's the kid receiver? Miller, Scotty Miller. He's activated.
But you know what? Isn't he just a name? Like this, I've heard that name so many damn times. For him not to have done
he possesses a rare speed that can be utilized. When you see guys like Wes Welker have a quickness about him, the ability to separate small body, you say, man, Scotty Miller could be, he's faster than Wes Welker. He could fit in as a third down guy. He could fit in possibly as a punt return guy. I say we're not a complete team because we haven't seen big plays in special teams yet. Understandably, kickoff, usually a touchback. Punt game, Bobo Wilson hasn't given us, that flavor.
Anything.
Hasn't given us that flavor. Will Scotty Miller get his opportunity? Man, I want to see the kid. I want to see guys who are activated. I want to see those guys produce or get opportunities to produce. If they're sitting on the sideline, I just ask the question, what for? Why are they activated if they're not playing?
Sure.
You don't have a specific plan for them,
Well, I mean, it's not like wide receiver is where we're lacking.
Oh, by no means.
That's our strength right now. Our strength is our wide receivers, okay? That's what we got. I'd like to see our tight end be our strength as well. I'm hearing that we run 2 tight ends more than anybody else. If that's the case, then both our tight ends got to catch more than balls. They got to be part of it.
What we don't have at wide receiver is that Scotty Miller, Wes Welker type of guy. You got your beast going vertical. All right, everybody, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Brashard Perriman, you got to cover those guys. You get verticals, you press the defense, widen the defense, and then a guy like Scotty Miller on a shallow cross underneath.
And then take it to the house.
Take it to the house.
Yeah.
So that's what I see. We don't have that type of guy. Like Adam Humphries was our guy last year. He gets a big payday because of what he did well.
You see, he's not doing much.
He's not doing much. He had a few drops, but he needs a supporting cast around him. Like I said, you need those beasts that can go vertical. Now you can utilize a guy like Adam Humphries' ability underneath option routes. Scotty Miller, in my opinion, serves as that type of receiver, and he's the only one on the roster, in my opinion, that has that ability. Bobo Wilson has the speed. I just haven't seen his run after catch ability.
Absolutely.
And I've seen that out of Scotty Miller at practice, and a lot of people have talked about it. Would like to see it in the games.
No doubt. Well, I'll tell you what. I always appreciate you sitting in. We are creating another podcast and a webcast as well, where we're talking to my people from Bud Light Platinum, which I gave you one right over here.
Yeah, man.
That Bud Light Platinum with that 6% alcohol. It tastes like Canadian beer to me, which is beautiful.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. And this is for all my beer drinkers out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big beer drinker, but I'll have a cold one from time to time. This is 6% alcohol.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though.
So you get a 1 or 2 of these, and you're ready to go to the game.
Well, it said it's brewed. Their catchphrase is brewed for the night.
Brewed for the night.
So don't be drinking them at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you have to find yourself an Uber.
No doubt about that. No doubt. Well, anybody out there, if anybody has any questions for me, it's Ian Beckles at radioinfluence.com. You can ask me whatever questions. Sometimes I read them on air. And just keep your eyes and ears open. Mike and myself are going to be popping up with this webcast and podcast, Slobber Knockers. And for those of you with the Slobber Knocker type attitude,
yeah, baby,
bring your ass.
Tune in.
And we're going to have some great guests. Maybe some Skype.
Some VIP guests, got a lot of relationships in the industry. And when me and Ian got together, we said, man, we need to utilize all of our resources to do something that's not being done on the media market here in Tampa, man.
Bringing flavors to the airwaves,
bringing a lot of flavor to the airwaves. Funny stuff, too, man. Not just talk about football stuff, but, like, I watch highlights tapes, Ian, and there's some things that I crack up that have me dying laughing.
And I hear you making notes to yourself.
I'm making notes like Juju Smith-Schuster comes up in the interview, and he's oily. I said, man, that dude got some stock in CeraVe, man. Get the boy some powder, man. He's shining.
Some talcum powder or something. Yeah.
But just little things that make you laugh, outside of the game. We want to bring that to you, man, to enjoy the season. Kind of bring you some joy. If the Buccaneers aren't pleasing you, maybe the Slobber Knockers webcast can bring you some joy for the week.
You okay with that Minshew guy? Is that his name, Minshew?
Minshew.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew.
You like his mustache?
I love his mustache. I didn't know what he sounded like, Ian.
He sounded like he looked.
He sounded just like he looked, and I was like, please sound like you got some beef jerky stuck between your molar and your wisdom teeth. And he was like, yeah, dude, got it, yeah. Rock on, like, I said, man, he's cool. They're going to love that energy.
He was on the sideline in college football with some cutoff jean shorts. And I said, the audacity, but good for you, bro. He's getting it done, no doubt. Well, Michaels, thank you, sir. And we'll definitely get this done again. And we thank everybody out there for listening. And very soon we'll be watching as well. So let's hope we're celebrating a big Buccaneer victory next time. And in the meantime, we're 1-2, and we're still climbing up. Listen, none of this was going to be easy. Have a wonderful week, and enjoy your football. Peace out.
You have been in the trenches with Ian Beckles on Radio Influence.